Well, it's going to be easy to beat Mark.
Kind of a risky technique.
I mean, it's a competition, so I'm just going to be the natural winner.
I know Jaron has won some of the other competitions, quite a few, but this one, I'm going to sweep him. I just think I'm a better cook.
9 minutes left.
Oh!
Hey everyone, Jaron and Mark here, and it's competition time.
Yeah, and this month for Thanksgiving, we decided to feature chef's knives.
All right, so let's get to the kitchen and get this cooking throwdown started.
Let's go.
All right, guys, so we brought in a guest judge who really knows his way around the kitchen. This is Stefan Cook.
Hi, I'm Stefan. I have 9 years of experience in corporate dining and catering, and currently I work at Blade HQ with these guys.
Yeah, we're excited that Stefan could join us today. He's going to judge the 2 rounds that we have, the appetizer round and the entree round with a side. Now that's going to be scored in 3 areas: plating, creativity, and taste. And the entree round is worth double. All right, so now we need to pick our protein. So we've written down all the options on the bottom of these eggs. We're gonna randomly draw to see what we get. 1 will be for our appetizer and 1 will be for our entree. So Jaron, go ahead and pick, and then you can choose which one you want for which.
Okay, so we go with these 2 eggs, and I've got ham and chicken breasts.
Okay, so, all right, I got steak and eggs. So, all right, let's get to it.
So my cooking experience varies. I do it at home for fun. It kind of relieves stress for me. But I worked in a restaurant for 13 years as a server and then as a manager, and kind of was a family business, so I've been around cooking my entire life.
As far as cooking experience goes, I'm pretty much just a self-taught chef. I've enjoyed cooking, so from, as a teenager, I kind of just started then and done it ever since.
So I picked the Santoku, a classic Santoku, 5.5 inches. It's a Damascus blade made by Shun. I picked this. It feels great in my hand. It has the D shape on the knife, so it's a right-handed blade.
All right, so for this competition, I chose a ceramic boker. Now this might not be the knife that I personally would own to use, but I really wanted to try a ceramic blade, and this looked fantastic. It's like a 6-inch, basically a chef's knife, has that little sheep's foot, and it feels great. It's got a curved handle. It's supposed to help with repetitive cutting motions. We'll see how that does.
So as far as shopping goes, we had a budget of $30. I wasn't concerned that I was going to cross that budget. The dish that I have in mind is pretty simple, so won't cost very much.
I went to get my steak, and the steak was very expensive. I wanted to get the best cut I could, but it was like $20 for that one. So I just got a nice ribeye, and I think that'll work well for me.
So went up to check out. I'd kept a budget throughout the whole time, ended up only spending $21.78.
Checking out, I saw I was at $28, and I thought I'd be able to use a little garnish, so I ran back, grabbed some Italian parsley. It just bumped me over with tax, $30.07. Jaron lent me 7 cents, so I'll let him use some of that Italian parsley if he wants.
Your 20 minutes starts now. Good luck.
As far as an appetizer go, deviled eggs came right to my mind. May not be very creative, but it'll be really easy, so that's what I'm gonna do. All right, so starting out, I needed to get my water boiling right away. I got some salt in there to bring up the temperature. I filled it up with water. I put in a little bit more water than I needed to, and so it took a little bit longer to boil than it might have otherwise. Once I got the water on, I started prepping the meat, which was basically just opening the package. Sure. I got a frying pan, put the bacon on, got that going. Then it was just a matter of a waiting game.
As far as my proteins go, I picked ham and a chicken breast. So I'm going to use ham for my appetizer and do some kind of skewer with it. I'm not quite sure yet. So immediately from the beginning, I went straight over to the oven, got my pans going so I could have the heat for the pan sear, and started with the brown sugar in the pan to heat that up so I could get the caramelization going. Then I went and prepped my food. I prepped the pineapple, drained it out, drained a little juice into the pan so it could get that brown sugar sauce on its way. And then cut up the pineapple, put it in, and started the pan sear around the pineapple.
Looking at right now what Jaron's cooking, it looks like he's attempting to pan sear the pieces of pineapple. Kind of a risky technique, especially with the brown sugar. Brown sugar will burn up on you pretty quick if you don't keep a close eye on it, so we'll see how it turns out.
So once the water was boiling, I put my eggs in. One of them broke right away, and that's what caused me some issues. The water was boiling out because it was egg white in there, so it was cooking, so it wasn't just a boil of water. I put the lid up to allow the vapor to come out a lot easier so I wouldn't spill out again.
So as you see Mark here cooking the bacon. If you look at the bacon really close, you see a lot of white. A lot of white generally persists in like a lower grade bacon, of course. But the main parts he's going to want to use are the dark meats, because those are the parts that are going to cook and they're going to hold a good consistency. The white parts are just going to make his meal rubbery.
The bacon was the really cheap bacon and had a lot of fat on it. Started to reduce, there was a lot of grease in the pan. I knew I wanted it to cook a little bit more crispy than I would normally cook some bacon, but all of a sudden it was done. And so as soon as I took it out and blotted it, it was breaking with just my finger pressure. I mean, I probably didn't even need the knife to cut it, so I could tell it was overcooked.
I thought I had grabbed ham steaks, but when I opened up the package, I realized that I had gotten cubed and I had to make it work.
So it looks like he's good on time. We just passed the 15-minute mark. He's looking at about 12 minutes right now. Looks like he's fairly confident in his timing. One thing with ham, he's got small cubettes. You're gonna wanna look at overcooking because being as ham is a pre-cooked meat, it'll dry out really fast in the pan.
When everything was done, the caramelization and the pan sear was done, took it over, started plating. Plating is where I ran into an issue with skewering it.
Looking at what he's trying to do right here, looking at some issues with the ham and the pineapple consistency. Looks like he's working away through it though.
Was able to overcome that, and I think I ended up with a nice dish.
Okay, wow.
I was waiting for the eggs to be done. I tried to prep my spices with the mayonnaise. As soon as the eggs came out, I cooled them down, cracked them open. I could see they were just a little bit underdone. I would have liked to have them go for another minute or two. But they were of a consistency that still was fine. I started mixing them up with my other ingredients.
Okay, 2 minutes left.
Way too much paprika. And when I tasted it, it was like overwhelming paprika. That really earthy, just boom, too much, just too much. I could tell right away. I had like a minute and a half left. I had 2 other eggs. I quickly grabbed them, tried to pop out the yolks to get them going, but I could tell I didn't have enough time. I had 30 seconds and I hadn't plated anything. I had to go with what I had, so I put in the overly spiced filling.
And 5 seconds. And time.
Dang it, dude, this is really paprika. Got it on the plate with a little bit of the bacon on there. And that's all I had time for. All right, Stefan, so I have deviled eggs with topped with little bacon bits.
Okay, so looking at the plate initially, it's very nice. It has two good-looking eggs on it, and a bush right here at the top, which looks like it's just parsley, right, for garnishment?
Yeah, Italian parsley.
Okay. One thing you may want to look at next time is just, toning it down a little bit to present the eggs, as the main focal point. So let's try them out. I'm not spitting it out. So there's the paprika's high.
I know, I tasted it. I was trying to make those other ones.
Bacon's a little overcooked, but the texture of the mix inside of it actually has a very good texture. That was one thing watching your time and how the eggs came out that I was worried about. But the texture looks good. The taste over paprika, if you tone that off and the bacon was a little less cooked, I think you'd have a great little appetizer here.
Thank you.
So here's my appetizer. It's a Canadian bacon and pineapple skewers with brown sugar.
Okay, looks looking at it aesthetically, I mean, it has a nice form to it. The crumbled brown sugar. See how that comes across. The caramelization actually was really good. The brown sugar caramelized well. Adding the crumbled brown sugar on top of it actually took away from it. The taste of the caramelization on the pineapple was very good. The ham was a little dry, but good. And then being as this was canned pineapple, it doesn't have that fresh taste, and it doesn't caramelize well. It doesn't get the hard outer skin on it when you sear it, holding in that goodness in the middle. But taste was good. Presentation with the crumbled sugar was a little lacking, and then the creativity was good. The execution on the creativity, I think, was a little lacking, but overall, good job.
Thanks. So that was the appetizer round. Let's take a look at the scores.
Okay, so after round one, Jaron leads with 12, Mark with 11. We're going to move on to the second round of entrees. Hopefully Jaron can conquer his freshness barrier and Mark can beat those seasonings and get them just right this time. So on to the second round and bring on the entrees. Your 40 minutes for your entree starts now. Good luck.
So to start off, I started my side because it was going to take about 20-25 minutes to cook all the way through. So I wanted that to be cooking while I was prepping the main course.
Jaron's on the clock now. Looks like he's got a lot of good stuff. We got tortillas and peppers and onions, and his protein's chicken, so I'm really interested to kind of see what he's got. He's got some rice cooking right now. I'll give him a few minutes to start, get his groundwork laid, and then let's find out what he's got.
So I started the rice, then I moved on to prep the chicken so it could be marinating for a few minutes, get the flavor inside before I started cooking. First thing I did was I needed to prepare the marinade. I put some chipotle spice in a bowl and mixed it with olive oil and lime juice, and mixed it up, let it sit for a minute. So I started slicing the chicken into about quarter-inch thick pieces of chicken, long enough that they could fit on the tortilla. And then I set them in the marinade and kind of push the marinade in a little bit and set them aside and let them start soaking.
So starting out, I knew basically the only things I was going to cook were the meat. I sauteed some of the vegetables and then boiled the water and butter for the couscous. So overall that was going to be really easy. I started by prepping the vegetables. So that meant thin cutting the red onion into nice strips, And then I had to prepare the cucumber. I just skinned it and then again cut that into reasonably thin strips. I also bought a red pepper because I was going to use some of the red onion and the red pepper to garnish my side, so I prepped some of that, diced it, minced it up really fine.
That knife has a very nice belly for mincing. I like that. It has a good rocking motion on it. So Jaron's got his rice cooking, his chicken prepped and marinating. Now he's going to start chopping his vegetables and prepping that part of it. And honestly, this knife looks like it's cutting really great through it. It's beautiful.
So I moved to the vegetables and started to prepare those, and I started to cut the onion. I did cut the onion a little differently than I normally would, but in the whole competition, like the time frame thing, my mind started going and I diced the onion instead of cutting it in a longer strip. Overall, I don't think it hurt me too bad. And then I moved to the peppers. So I started cutting the peppers. I take the fresh seeds from the peppers and put it in the marinade so that it has a more fresh taste to it. They cook in a little better. It also gives some kind of texture to the chicken.
Okay, and Jaron, you are at 30 minutes. 10 minutes has elapsed. Thank you.
Then moving on to prep the meat, I normally would buy like a flank steak, something that was pretty lean, but for this one, for whatever reason, I decided to go with just a nice steak, something that was marbled, and I chose a ribeye. I prepared that by seasoning it with salt and pepper as well as Italian seasoning. So rosemary, some thyme, a few other things in there. I heated up the oil. I usually like to have it on medium-high heat. I want a really good sear on the outside. Sear on.
And what degree are you looking to cook the steak to?
I'm gonna do like a medium rare to medium. Normally I would hit that for 2 to 5 minutes top, depending on how thick that steak was. In this case, I believe I seared it a little bit too much because I think it cooked through.
Okay, so Mark has his steak down. It looks beautiful. It looks like it's a very nice cut of beef and everything. There are a few challenges with beef. One is on this, it has some of the fat on it. He's gonna have to be careful either to trim that or render it properly. And then it's also getting just that perfect amount of redness in the middle that keeps it still moist and juicy and keeps it tender. So we'll see how it turns out.
During the process of searing it, I preheated the oven to 350. I was gonna stick that in to finish it off. It was maybe a quarter of an inch thick, probably a little bit less. Everything's almost there. This is a really simple dish, and just waiting. The steak's gonna be the longest. Couscous only takes like 5 minutes, so I think I'm excellent on time.
Look how he is cutting the peppers. He's keeping his fingers nice and clear of the blade edge. He's using the tip there to start the cut and then rolling down to the belly, which is a great technique when using with vegetables, and with this particular knife, it makes a great cut.
And then I moved and started to cook the vegetables. Put a pan on there and medium heat and let the vegetables start to fry a little bit. I don't want to cook the vegetables too much because they start to get slimy after a while. And then I tenderized the chicken a bit while it was in the marinade, so it would really just soak up that flavor.
Okay, so it looks like he's getting ready to cook his chicken. He's got his peppers starting to saute in the pan. Everything looks really good. He's still at 23 minutes, and so it looks like he's in a really good place still. Looks like he's on time, and everything's smelling delicious.
And then I started to cook the chicken. I placed it in the pan evenly so it would cook all the way through, and rotating it occasionally so that both sides got cooked. I let the edges sear a little bit, checked the inside to make sure that there was no paint, and it was done.
Okay, so he just checked his chicken. It looks good. It's cooked well. One of the issues with chicken is that as the main protein in this dish, chicken really needs to wow a person. You can't go bland, you can't go dry. You know, there's a lot of variance in it, but, you know, his dish is looking good.
The meat was really the longest part. I wanted to set and lock in some of the juices, so I was waiting for that. I got my couscous going, got the water and the butter, got that to boil with the seasoning pack. Sauteed up just a little bit of the red pepper and the red onion. Had that sitting and ready to go. I just want to...
Yep. Well, a good way to determine steak wellness is if you put your hand like this, you can actually tell that this is rare. And then as you go through, you're going to go rare, medium well, and well done. And as these muscles tighten up, it'll tell you how well how the cook on your steak is.
I probably didn't need to drop it in the oven because it wasn't a really thick cut of meat. I think that's probably where it got maybe a little bit well done. After pulling the meat out, I wanted it to lock in the juices, so I wanted that to rest for about 5 to 8 minutes. During that time, I put in the naan bread. I just wanted to toast it a little bit, warm it up so that it would be flexible rather than crumbly.
Okay, so Mark has his protein ready and his sides, his garnishments. All we're waiting on right now is his naan bread in the oven, and looks like he'll be ready to go. Should make it easily within the time requirement.
Favorite part of cooking, waiting.
So once all the food was prepared, I threw the tortillas in the microwave for about 20 seconds, pulled them out so they were warm, and plated the food. Then when it came to the plating, I had a side of sour cream with one little sprig of parsley for some color. And then I served the 2 fajitas on the side. I put my side of rice right next to it. I would have liked to maybe push it together a little bit, maybe have a little more artistic form to it, but once it was all there, I didn't want to mess up the plate by moving everything around. Done. Done.
Pulled that out. I needed to let the bread cool for just a minute, so I sliced up the meat real thin. I put on the hummus. Then I layered my meat on. I put the cucumbers, as well as the onions and the tomato, and then just sprinkled on a little feta cheese to finish it off. Added the side, the couscous, and then put in the sprig of Italian parsley. I thought the knife was really good this time. I really liked it. I kept needing to choke up. I kept forgetting to do that just because I haven't prepared a meal in a while. But it has really nice balance as far as rocking. The handle sits up high, and they did that on purpose, supposedly to help your wrist for repetitive cutting. I didn't do so much that my wrist got tired. The only thing that it had a little bit difficulty tackling was that tomato. It was a little bit softer of a tomato though. And you know, sometimes you just need a serrated blade for that kind of thing. But other than that, it was awesome. Sliced, diced, minced, cut the meat, fantastic.
I really enjoyed using the shun blade. It cut right through everything, blasted through the chicken. It cut right through the vegetables. It performed excellent. Felt good in my hand the entire time. So here we have a spicy chicken lime fajita with a side of Mexican rice and sour cream.
Okay, well, it looks plated, wonderful. Spacing's a little off. You have some gaps here that kind of take away from the food, but it looks delicious. So let's try it. First thing I check is your chicken. Looks well done. My initial impression on the rice, a little underdone. A little underdone. Your peppers and your onions were done well. Al dente, so soft on the outside, firm on the inside still, had a little crunch to it. The chicken was well done, well seasoned. It had spice, but it didn't have overpowering. The use of the sour cream to kind of mellow that out was well done. I would have cut your onions differently, more of a fajita style, so long strips. And I would have recommended, I saw that you microwave the shells. I would have recommended doing them in a pan, a dry pan, because what that does is it prevents them from breaking apart a little bit more, so it keeps them together. Overall, creativity was very good. I mean, it's the basic dish, you know, but you did very good with that. The spices are on. The rice is well done. So I think very well done.
Thank you.
I'm very impressed.
All right, so the plate that I prepared for you, the entree that I have is a steak gyro with more of a Greek influence. It's got the hummus and the feta cheese, as well as a couscous with a sauteed bell pepper and red pepper.
Okay, well, it looks beautiful. I mean, on the plate, it's beautiful. It has great contrast on the couscous, the peppers on there, and then everything else, it's a feast just for the eyes right there. So let's dig in and try this. The hummus is very well cooked.
Couscous?
Or the couscous is very well cooked. Let's try the
Fold it and bite into it.
kind of a sandwich. There we go. And you did well on the bread. The bread is very well warm, and you kept it from getting brittle. Very good. The balance between the, it's a traditional Mediterranean kind of a gyro with the steak still moist, very tender. The vegetables balance out very well. Yeah, a lot of freshness to this plate, and it all balances very well. So, very good job.
Thank you.
I'm impressed.
All right, so that was the entree round. Stefan, what'd you think?
Okay, so it was a great battle between two great chefs. We had Jaron with his Southwest flavor that punched you in the mouth, and it was delicious. And we had Mark with his Mediterranean Euro fusion kind of a thing. And so the point breakdown came down to 36 to 34 in a very tight fought race. So now the winner. Jaron, if you will congratulate Mark on his victory.
Oh, congrats.
Yes. One for the books. All right. So let's go ahead and take a look at the complete breakdown for the entree and the appetizers, and we'll check out those scores.
Well, that was a close one, but congratulations again to Mark.
Yeah, thanks. It was a lot of fun.
And if you want to have some fun in the kitchen, check out our selection of kitchen knives we have here.
Also, if you're interested in winning one of the knives we used in the competition, leave a comment in the next 24 hours. Full giveaway rules can be found in the description box.
Well, thanks for watching and have a happy Thanksgiving.
We'll see you next time.
Hats off to Mark. He did great. His dish, I'm sure, was delicious. It looked delicious, even though he had a couple of those problems in there. It smelled delicious. But hats off to you, Mark. Congratulations.